Hi everybody, today I want to talk about life after discard. So the question I'm raising today is, what is life after discard? And having gone through it myself, I'm just going to talk about my experience. So it's not like anybody's professional, like I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, I'm a civil engineer, but I'm just going to go through my experience and learning what I've learned through my healing process. So what is life after discard is the question I'm raising today. And discard is the final discard because you will go on a devaluation, discard, love bombing roller coaster cycle until they have secured their new supply. But when it's the final discard, at first it feels like you've gotten the wind knocked out of you, or you took a bullet to the chest. Like it usually feels like death, and it's usually a very traumatic ending when your relationship ends with a narcissist. Guns blazing, ships burning and sinking, and some sort of very traumatic experience through the breakup. And I believe that's to create the PTSD that you will experience. A lot of people experience it. For me, it was like reliving the same night, the same evening when like they will take you from on the final discard, they will make you feel like you're the one forever, you're on your way to riding off from the sunset together, and then they'll hit you with a huge traumatic blow, and then usually right afterwards, when the smoke has cleared, you'll see that the narc has jumped y'all's burning, sinking ship, and he's riding off into the sunset with another ship. And this whole experience can be very traumatic. And for me, it was like reliving that night over and over when I thought everything was great, and then I caught him with another girl. He had cheated on me like, I don't know, endless amount of times, but yet another girl. That whole evening, like me going to the door and talking to him, and her, saying whatever she said, like all that, like would replay in my head every day, and I couldn't get it to stop. I was like, what do I do? I don't want to replay this. How do I push stop? And I was suffering from a PTSD from being so shocked by it. So anyways, um, at first it's gonna have some sort of huge traumatic experience. It's gonna give you a PTSD of some sort if they're, especially if they're a higher level narc. And I will get to my hierarchy of narcissists video, I promise. But after the smoke clears, then second, you'll most likely see that the narc has jumped your ship and has, what it looks like is riding off into the sunset on another ship, and his new victim. And who they're riding off in the sunset with won't make much sense usually. And like for me, for example, my ex-narc would always talk about he would hate immigrants. He hated third world country immigrants coming in and taking over America. He would always talk crap about that. Like at first he wasn't ever said anything like that, but when I got to know the real him, he was always talking very negatively about that. And the other thing was he didn't like young people. Like I had some friends that were younger, and he would always just say how immature they were, and how he liked dated older women always. And it was true, like all his ex-wives were older than him. And he didn't like the immaturity of younger women, younger people. And so the person that he rode off into the sunset with was a third world immigrant younger girl that was like everything that he always said he hated. So it doesn't make much sense who they're with typically. It's another girl that he found from work. And when you're caught in the storm of it all, like, and you like, okay, I have to get to this, but they're gonna make you feel like you're nothing. They're gonna do everything in their power to make you feel like they can care less about you. And it's like a big blow because y'all been together 3, 5, 10, 15 years. Y'all have children together, and they've made you feel like everything is wonderful. And then boom, all you know is they've been seeing someone else, and they're right off to the sunset with them, or something very traumatic like that. And the person who they're with won't make sense. It's like a real convenient person. Like for me, my ex would always usually get his victims from work, um, and they are they won't make much sense. They'll make you feel like they don't need you, that you're nothing to them, but they do need you. They need you very much in many ways, and not like the normal healthy way people need you. No, they need you to play a new role in their new campaign. They need you during this love bombing phase of their new supply. They're over there being like this fake person. They're not super positive, super great, super wonderful. So your new role to fill during this love bombing phase of the new supply is the crazy ex, the one that the new supply has rescued them from. And they're gonna do things, the shock, the PTSD thing that's gonna make you freak out, and righteously so. Oh my God, what are you doing? They're gonna do all these things in a very slick way, so that the new victim's like, oh, you poor thing, and you just started dealing with this crazy ex, and so they need you to fill the role of the crazy ex, and they got to do this crazy making during the new campaign. This will help them secure their flying monkeys. Like usually if you'll have kids, it'll be like at a daycare. They'll try very hard to secure the manager at daycare or something to be on their side, so to speak. And they also need to dump all their negative feelings, because they're horrible, miserable people inside, and they're over here putting on this huge show for their new supply that they're these wonderful, amazing people. So whenever they get to dump on somebody, you're the new person that they are gonna go to and dump on, and try to get that negative supply, because the positive supply is great, but they need it both. Like especially if they're a higher level narcissist, more extreme level, they need all supply, like all day long, from all sorts of ways, not just from the love interest, but from their family, the co-workers, employees that they supervise. They like need a lot of supply. It's like a drug. They're like, I need my supply. And so yeah, the new role is they need to dump on you. They need to extract the negative supply from you. They need to make you the crazy ex. And for you, this is like their last ultimate mind fuck. Like, excuse my French, but this is their last ultimate mind trigger on you, like the grand finale of the fireworks show. And it's to make you believe that you weren't the problem, they were the problem. I mean, that they weren't the problem, you were the problem. And not just to make you believe it, but to make their ex believe it, everybody around them believe it, their family, their friends, their coworkers, even y'all's children. And this is how they sell themselves in the new campaign. I'm this poor victim that I'm just running away from this crazy person. Look over there, she's acting crazy, see that? And they won't see like behind the scene interaction things, like I don't know, a lot of things my ex likes to do to try to trigger me nowadays is like he'll try to use our daughter as a trigger tool, and it's kind of sad, but it's true. And he will do things like something that's clearly laid out in the custody order. He'll ask me repeatedly about it, like as if he can't read. And he will, I will like give him extra time or something like that. But anytime I ask him for extra time, he will say, send me a sick as dogs, his fancy lawyer dogs on me, and say, if I dare, do it, he has said no, and if I dare do it, now that he said no, they will, hold me in contempt or take me to court or whatever, like blah, 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 whatever. He's just vicious at every opportunity he gets when it comes to our daughter. And it's like he's trying to trigger me. Like if, I don't know, if she's supposed to be there at noon and I get there at 12:10, I've got a blown up of emails from him saying, why are you late? I'm demanding to know why she's there, and how are you going to make up with the curriculum that she's lost? And he's just like, she's 4 years old. She's not even in real like school. She's in daycare. Give me a break. She's 10 minutes late because we had breakfast together or lunch together before I took her. And whatever. There's technically he does, as long as I'm following the rules of the order, where I have to drop her off before 3:45 or whatever when she gets out of school. We're supposed to pick up. As long as I'm following the rules, I don't. None of that requires a response. But he wants me to respond. He wants me to blow up and say, "Can't you see it's already in the order? That's already clearly laid out." And that's the kind of supply that he's extracting, that negative supply, and he just eats that up like candy. And so I should do a good video on co-parenting and how to avoid those examples or unnecessary responses. But anyways, moving along. So during this campaign, they want you to believe and everybody to believe that you're the problem and they weren't the problem. And this is the new role that you feel, and it's the ultimate mind trickery, because you will be convinced and you will hear all these videos saying, this is the ultimate mind trick and it will get better and you'll see clearly this is the best thing that ever happened to you. And you're just like, yeah, right, whatever. I don't feel like that right now. But it's actually true. I hate to be another cliche narcissist survival video, but it's true. You will, after a while, feel better. And it will all seem like complete bullcorn at the beginning. And you will actually be falling right into his mind trick and believing his campaign that he's selling to everybody. You'll be falling for it like everybody else, and you'll feel like, golly, maybe I really was the problem. And geez, like over there, like he's really, they're off like within less than a year. They've gotten married, had kids, moved in together, whatever. How could he be a problem if he seems so happy over there? Well, when you finally like stand back and you're able to clearly look at things, like realistically look at things, like I go back to my ex and how he would always usually find his victims from work, girls that I would always find him cheating on girls with work. Well, this last one that he's run off into the sunset with is one of these girls that the third world immigrant younger girl is from his work. And just think about probability and statistics, as we had to take that class in civil engineering. What's the probability, seriously, what's the probability that he would find his soulmate right there at work, within a short amount of time like that? Like, it's actually like really probably slim to none, like especially repeatedly like dating girls in the same place. Like, what's the probability like each of those girls happen to be his soulmate? Like, they're not. It's just convenient, and it's just an opportune thing, and he's selling it very well, and it makes everybody believe it. And if you can, like, for me, in part of my learning process, I created a timeline, and I looked at the history of my ex-narc, like from his first marriage to the girl that he dated for a year and supposedly she faked a baby or something, to the second wife, to the girl that he had cheated on like 10 years with at work, to all these other girls in between, to after the second wife, to me, to now this third wife. And you can, like, when you map out the timeline, it's freaky how you can see, like, for my ex, it's like a 7-year limit. He's got a 7-year limit, and he usually like dates him for 3 years and is married to him for 4 years or so forth. And then like in between the ones that he doesn't marry, it's like a year or whatever. Like, you can see like there's clearly a pattern. And so from that pattern, you can put your own experiences and say, okay, this is the same song, just different girls each time, and nothing is really changing. So it's all bullcorn. It's not a soulmate. It's not a running off into the sunset. It's a new victim, and she's gonna have it worse than you. And that took me a long time to really accept and believe also too. But like, not to hate them, but to actually feel sorry for them. That was a process for me. But it's really a good stepping stone on your healing process. And I feel bad like for the exes that I felt that were crazy, or the side girls that I called crazy or said mean things to. Like, I almost wish I could go back and apologize to them and say like, I'm sorry, you were just bamboozled like I was. But you don't want to do that because you never know if they're still in his like circle of girls or supply, or if they're his flying monkeys. You don't know where they are on their healing journey, if they are on one at all, or if they're still completely believing his lies and stuff. So you can maybe like write a letter and like, Dear Jane, and save it in a box if if you really need to get it out. But yeah, I was completely buying the whole bullcorn story for a second, and it took me a long time to see clear through it. But especially if you have kids, they'll start bringing stuff home, like, you know, for my little girl, like, the saddest thing, she says a lot, like, I'm all alone, like, nobody plays with me over there, I just sit in my room by myself, kind of thing. They put the TV on in my big bunny house or whatever. But she like came home and she was saying like, Daddy fighting, with the bleepity bleep, and Daddy was like, ah, and she was like, nah, and it's like, huh, yeah, it sounds familiar. And then, like, oh, the way my little girl, one of her stories, she said, because the new supply has a son. That's the other thing that I saw weird in the timeline, was a lot of the girls that he dated, they started out the same age, and they all had a son. They were all mothers of children of sons, not girls. And I thought that was interesting. And the sons were all with the same ages. I'm like, wow, this is weird. But anyways, I remember he would do like a lot of emotional, mental manipulation, abuse stuff, and like do triangulation between me and my boys. And he would just like say that they were bad when they weren't, or exaggerate things, so I would get mad at them and get them in trouble. So my little girl came home and she said a story that sounded so familiar to what I had experienced in the past with my boys. And she was like, yeah, let's call the girl, I don't want to say her name, so we'll call her new victim, I guess. That she said, Mommy, the new victim said to her little boy, go to your room. And the little boy was like, ah, and she was like, ah, to him. And he was sad, he was crying, he was all alone. And the new supply was over there with Daddy. And I guess, something happened to a little boy, whatever. Like, I can't remember exactly the story word for word, but when she was saying it, I was like, I had remember examples of that where like he would make me feel like my boys had done something wrong and I had to correct them, and I would, and they were like trying to explain to me like, no, Mom, it wasn't like that. And I was like, no, you're disobeying an adult or whatever, and go to your room. And it would be like a strain on our relationship between my boys and I, and then I'd go over there and he'd be like, yeah, and it's just like this weird triangulation stuff. And so you'll hear tidbits, especially if you have children coming back to you. If you don't, he will ensure some way that he'll get that information back to you. But yeah, life after discard is another kind of a roller coaster until it flatlines out and you kind of open up your eyes and see that it is the best thing that ever happened to you, and you're not missing out on anything, and you should be grateful and happy you got the heck out of Dodge, and you literally dodged a bullet, and the person who you feel maybe at the beginning has taken your place or whatever, has replaced you, they have it really bad. And if you can remember, because something weird happens psychologically. My therapist explained it, and I'll probably explain it really poorly, but it's like you do this thing in your mind where you kind of forget a lot of the bad stuff that happens and you only remember the good stuff. And so you kind of like start missing the person or whatever, or only thinking about the good things, because especially when they're out there doing all these good things only during their love bombing stage to the other person, you'll forget like all the horrible things that they did unless people like remind you. You stumble on an old letter that you wrote to yourself, or you get an example of it being now lived through the new victim with your children coming home and telling you. And all these things it's just crazy how time is just the best remedy. And through all these things, you slowly start to see that people aren't bullcorning you when they say it is the best thing that happened to you when this has ended, and it does get better. And like for that reoccurring, living that experience, what happened that night, over and over, like that has gotten better. I don't do that every night now, and I didn't think that would ever stop. So it does get better. Stick with it, and that's it. Love to hear what anybody thinks about this, and I hope everybody's staying safe out there. Bye.